Hi, so my name is Tyler Green, and I'm here to teach you guys about Brazil. So, to begin, Brazil has a population of 190 million people of varying backgrounds. It has 26 states and a federal district capital, and their main language is Portuguese. This is followed by several indigenous native tongues, and many of the indigenous native people stay actually away from the city, away from much of the population, and stay in their communities. Uh, about 70% of Brazil is Catholic, and this melting pot of a country is the result of centuries of control from European countries such as Portugal. Um, and this domination has brought many Portuguese, Italian, and Polish heritage to Brazil, as well as African heritage through slavery. And this has created a melting pot that has turned into what Brazil is today, which is very unique with several different people, ideas, innovations from all those influences. So when it comes to interests, Brazil is filled with soccer fans. And that's like 99% of the population has a favorite soccer team. And not many sports follow that, but there's also like volleyball, basketball, and like motorsports and some others. But soccer is a primary sport, and anything else is considered minor there. When it comes to meals, they're filled with carbs. They're surrounded with rice, beans. Many favorites are obvious, like fried stuff and like barbecue pork, which is very different from our American idea of barbecue pork. Music is a center of the culture there. So for Brazilians, they love pop and traditional just Brazilian musics, and dancing is a favorite. So if you go to Brazil, you might have to dance if you end up being in a situation where music is playing and it's a gathering. So be prepared for that. Moving on, the socioeconomic divide in Brazil is it's large. So before traveling to Brazil, it would be good to be educated on the divide in the classes, and this is primarily distinguished between by two factors, and that's income and skin color. 19% of Brazil is in poverty, and that's like, to give an idea of that, 26% are living on less than $5.50 a day, and 9.2% are living on less than $3.20 a day, and that's just not a lot of money at all. And obviously, the cost of living in Brazil is a lot less, and it varies depending on where you're living. If you're living in like Rio de Janeiro, or if you're living out in like the rural areas, the cost is going to be a lot different. But still, $5 a day is not much at all. What's very interesting is that the richest six people in Brazil make just as much money as the poorest 50% of the population. And we talk a lot about the U.S.'s divide and like the rich versus poor, but like Brazil's is a lot larger. So that is crazy. The wage gap is very different with people of color and women. So if you're a woman, you often are given jobs of like teaching or like nannying, or just jobs that don't pay as well. And same with like, the darker your skin is in Brazil, the harder it is for you to get a job that pays well. So while this is still a gap today, it is expected that by 2050, this gap is going to be diminished to nothing, and everybody will be paid equal. So hopefully that is the case. While there's still millions living in poverty, it's also important to note that in between 2001 and 2015, 28 million people were able to climb their way out of poverty in Brazil. So strides are being made, and hopefully that continues. Now, going on to manners, or my bad, going on to classes, where you were born is very important. So Brazil has one of the most diverse and mixed populations in the world, but this diversity comes with huge inequality and this is racial and social. Like, where you're born actually has a huge impact on what opportunities you have, um, what situations you're in, crime rates, education. So the large divide is actually um, really seen in this like class divide and like opportunity and stuff. So disagreements between classes. This gap also creates a large disassociation with members of other classes, and this can be seen in many walls being put up so that the rich don't have to look at the poor slums. And as you can see in this picture, on one side there's a city and you can't see the other side, but they're putting up a wall literally just because to divide one half from another. And so, and during the World Cup, when it was in Brazil, many tourists were commenting on these walls that were just randomly put up on the side of freeways. And when people were finding out that on the other side of the wall there was just slums, so that the tourists didn't have to see the poverty in Brazil, that was a large thing in the news. So moving on, when it comes to manners, typically and like historically, men have shaken hands, and women kiss, going from left to right on the cheeks, and that is what usually happens. And in business relationships, and even just going out to dinner, going over to people's houses, it is, you do not want to underdress. So I recommend overdressing in Brazil if you're going to something before you underdress, because they really like their style. And also, when you're going to like a dinner or over to somebody's houses, bring the hostess gifts, but primarily not purple or black, because that is seen with like mourning. And so just bring like maybe a wine bottle or flowers that isn't black or purple. So going on to business expectations, you definitely should arrive early and just show that you're punctual and respectful to them. And Brazilians love to talk first. They love to get close. They're very affectionate. As I said, like, they love to they kiss on the cheek often. They love to hug. So expect to be very close quarters and really like just talk. They want to get to know you before they get into any deal, because they want to make sure that you're trusting, that you're loyal. And so before they commit, you want to probably be ready for a lot of small talk, them getting to know you. Also, don't expect to get far with emails or just like anything over the internet with Brazilians. They really love their face-to-face interaction and getting to know you in person. So just know that if you are doing business in Brazil, you might have to actually travel there to get stuff done. So appearance definitely matters. So this comes, I talked about how you dress is very important, and they really care about that. And when it comes to going out to dinner, when it comes to going for business, make sure that you're dressing well. Make sure that you're also, they care about class so much that if they ever see where you're staying, if you're staying in a hotel, stay in a nice hotel, because that shows that like you're well off, and they care about that very much. So I think that in the end, Brazil's a very interesting culture. It's a fun culture. The country is still an emerging economy, but it has a lot of hope in the future. Thank you.